Hello and welcome to Plant Crafted Pantry. Today we are making barbecue chickpea pizza. Starting off by making the crust, I'm combining 1 1/3 cups of hot water with 1 tablespoon of yeast and 1 tablespoon of sugar. And I'm also adding 2 tablespoons of sugar to a large bowl while I have that out. Give the yeast mixture a little stir, and we'll set that aside while we mix our dry ingredients. So to the large bowl, I'm adding 2 tablespoons of psyllium husk powder, 3 cups of gluten-free 1-to-1 all-purpose baking flour, half a teaspoon of baking powder, and 1 teaspoon of salt, and giving that a stir. And once the yeast mixture is foamy, we'll add that to our dry ingredients along with 1 tablespoon of oil. And mix that all up. I switched to mixing with my clean hands when it got a little hard to do with the spoon. And just make sure everything is well combined. So now we've got our ball of dough. I'm going to cover that with a damp towel and set it aside for about 15 minutes or so to rest. And then after the 15 minutes is up, I will spray a pizza pan with some cooking spray and then press the dough out onto the pan. Having wet hands can help with getting the crust a little smoother, and you just want to press it out to the shape of the pan, and you can press any tears back together. And then I'm just folding over the edge of the crust when I get to the rim of the pan and pressing that down. So now our crust is shaped and ready to par bake. So I put that in a 375-degree oven for 15 minutes. In the meantime, we will work on our toppings. So here I'm draining a can of home canned chickpeas and reserving the liquid or the aquafaba. I did rinse the chickpeas before adding them back to this bowl with some barbecue sauce. I'm using the Stubbs Sticky Sweet here, but use whatever is your favorite. I did mix this together and then stuck it in the microwave for about a minute just to warm everything up. And now I'm using the aquafaba to make some homemade ranch dressing. I'm just combining all of the ingredients in my blender and blending that up. This version came out a little thin, but the amounts listed here will give you a thicker dressing. I'm going to pour that into a squeeze bottle. And now the crust is done par baking. You can see that it puffed up a bit and shrunk away from the edges of the pan. So I'm adding the chickpea mixture, spreading that around to get that extra barbecue sauce spread out on the crust. I do it this way to keep the pizza from getting soggy with too much sauce, and I like having the chickpeas coated in the sauce. So now I'm adding some of our caramelized red onion relish that we made last week. I will link that video if you missed that. So just spreading that out on top of the pizza with the chickpeas. And then I'm sprinkling some dried cilantro on top. You could also use fresh if you have it, or just leave it off if you don't like cilantro. And then I'm going to top all of that with some vegan shredded mozzarella cheese. And we'll put that back in the oven for another 20 minutes until it's slightly browned and the cheese is melted. So here's what it looks like straight out of the oven. I cut it up into slices, and I like to serve it with a drizzle of ranch dressing on top. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time. Bye.